Listen to me carefully. Soma was not a harmless myth, but a dangerous ritual, deliberately obscured and buried as a lost sacred drink. This narrative conveniently hid the truth. Soma was a breath-activated state, not a swallowed substance. The true miracle cure was internal, within the human nervous system. No external plant, potion, or psychedelic. Breath was the key, a biological override to shift the entire operating system. Ancient texts, coded in metaphor, described Soma's pressing and rising as a physiological sequence, a transition from survival consciousness to a regulated, coherent state that expands healing and perception. This knowledge was dangerous because it destabilized identity, not the body. Changing the nervous system state surfaces, suppressed emotions, dissolves fear, and weakens conditioning. A regulated human is harder to control, which is why Soma was protected and restricted to the prepared. You were trained to breathe shallowly, fast, and unconsciously, locking your nervous system into constant vigilance. This normal breathing is common, but not healthy. I speak as a translator, bridging ancient ritual and modern neuroscience. Soma never vanished. It was hidden in plain sight. Within the breath you perform thousands of times daily without awareness. Understanding this changes everything. There is no external savior or miracle. Only a biological switch you were never taught to use. You are depleted not from overwork or a complicated world, but because your nervous system remains in a silent emergency mode. Daily, your body endures elevated cortisol, incoherent heart rhythm, and a brain operating on survival frequency, a state you call normal life. You wake tired, eat without recovering, and sleep without regenerating. Coffee, pills, and quick fixes offer no lasting solution because they don't address the root. Your nervous system's baseline state, which ancient cultures knew was dangerous to sustain. When your nervous system is locked in defense, it postpones non-essential functions like healing, repair, hormonal balance, and emotional processing. This protective mechanism, over time, becomes a prison. You were taught to manage symptoms, temporary stress relief, distraction, a few calming breaths, but not to shift the entire system into a different operating mode. A mode where the brain permits healing, a state ancient texts called Soma. Crucially, you cannot think or willpower your way into this state. The nervous system responds to chemistry, rhythm, and breath, not logic. Incorrect breathing keeps the brain trapped in survival, even in objectively safe environments. If you feel constantly limited, on edge, or searching for something elusive, this is a warning. You lack access to the correct biological switch. Until it's activated, other solutions remain superficial. The ancient Soma ritual was never about intoxication. That interpretation is a decoy. Vedic texts describing drinking the gods and pressing the Soma encode a physiological process in metaphor, safeguarding dangerous knowledge. Careful reading reveals a pattern. Soma is pressed, purified, circulated, then ascends, sharpening awareness, dissolving fear, and granting access beyond ordinary consciousness. Historians struggle with the anomaly. These effects are too fast, systemic, and precise for any known plant alone. The plant was a trigger, a ritual anchor, not the source. In original rites, breath was inseparable from Soma, integrated with chanting, rhythm, retention, posture, and timing. The substance was symbolic. Real activation occurred internally. Ancient priests understood what modern science recently rediscovered: altering breath changes, blood chemistry, neural signaling, and perception. Soma was generated, not consumed. Strict initiation for Soma was necessary because deeply shifting the nervous system destabilizes the ordinary self. Controlled CO2 rise and pulsed oxygen release the brain from survival patterns, softening boundaries, and integrating memory, emotion, and intuition. Untrained minds perceive chaos, trained ones, clarity. Modern readers err by assuming ancients lacked biological understanding. They lacked microscopes, not insight. Generations of observation revealed which breathing patterns opened or shattered the gate. Thus, Soma was divine yet dangerous, healing yet intoxicating, liberating yet forbidden. When Soma is reduced to a lost psychedelic, understand that version is safe and demands nothing. The real Soma requires participation, discipline, breath, and willingness to exit the narrow neurological cage called reality. Stripping away mysticism, ancient ritual, and modern neuroscience reveal Soma as a biological shift, not magic. Breath rewires the nervous system's command structure, creating a measurable change in brain-body communication. Central to this is the vagus nerve. Shallow, fast breathing keeps it quiet, maintaining survival mode. Slow, rhythmic, restrained breath increases vagal tone, signaling the brain it's safe to stand down, a message that transforms everything. Crucially, controlled breath retention increases carbon dioxide tolerance. CO2, a signaling molecule, gradually rising, dilates blood vessels, improves brain oxygen delivery, and synchronizes neurons. This naturally shifts the brain into theta-dominant states, a lucid, internally focused mode, accelerating learning, emotional processing, and regeneration. Simultaneously, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, fertilizer for your nervous system, increases, supporting neural repair and adaptability. This explains insights, emotional release, and internal coherence reported in Soma states. The brain operates under a different chemical regime. Ancient texts called this the nectar rising. Modern science terms it autonomic regulation and neural plasticity. Different language, same event. Breath becomes a pump. Blood chemistry shifts. Neural oscillations synchronize. The mind integrates information instead of scanning for threats. This is Soma, a biological permission slip, not transcendence or hallucination. This knowledge remained hidden because triggering this state unprepared can unleash years of suppressed material, emotions, memories, ego disruption. To a trained practitioner, it's healing. To an unprepared one, destabilizing. Soma was initiated, never taught casually. Breath is not a relaxation tool, but a lever. Pull it gently, nothing happens. Pull it correctly, the system shifts. Pull it recklessly, it resists. The ancients knew the difference, and now so do you. Ancient and modern agree, different cultures, same nervous system. Stripping away myths reveals a repeated biological fingerprint. Soma priests, Taoist adepts, Tibetan monks, Spartan warriors all accessed the same internal switch. Their rhythmic chanting, long exhalations, breath holds, and slow nasal breathing weren't random spiritual preferences. They were precise tools altering blood chemistry and neural rhythm long before EEG. Science didn't invent this, it caught up. Modern labs confirm ritual's preservation. Synchronized breathing shifts the brain into coherent oscillations. Theta, low gamma, increases heart rate variability, activates the vagus nerve, and decreases inflammatory signaling. This is measurement, not belief. The modern world's mistake was separation. Science divorced subjective experience, ritual lost biological literacy, becoming symbolic theater. Soma lived in the overlap, where experience was tested, against outcome. Techniques failing the body were abandoned, regardless of philosophy. Ancient systems were ruthless in refinement, discarding anything destabilizing long-term, preserving and encoding what produced resilience, emotional control, and perceptual sharpness. What remained looked mystical only because its manual was metaphorical. We live in the first era, where the language barrier is gone. Neuroscience explains ritual's implications. Ritual provides precision modern wellness lacks. Together, they expose Soma as a repeatable, trainable, biological state, not supernatural. Once seen, this pattern is undeniable. The question isn't whether ancients were right, but whether you'll use what they protected, instead of dismissing it as myth or diluting it for comfort. From understanding to activation, this is a controlled nervous system protocol where precision matters. It's not a relaxation exercise or visualization, and was never taught casually. Begin seated or standing, spine upright but not rigid, body stable, mouth closed, all breathing nasal, non-negotiable. The nose regulates pressure, temperature, and nitric oxide. The mouth bypasses safety mechanisms. Inhale slowly, deliberately, filling low, then mid, then upper chest, counting silently to 4 without force. The hold after inhale, 4 to 6 seconds, no strain, is where activation begins, raising CO2 and signaling the vagus nerve. Exhale longer than inhale, 6 to 8 seconds, smooth and controlled, as if fogging a mirror through your nose. This extended exhale commands the brainstem to reduce threat scanning, initiating the shift to parasympathetic control. Repeat this 12-minute cycle without music, mantra, or distraction. Attention stays lightly on breath and internal sensations. Tingling, warmth, or subtle pressure are normal. Chasing sensations is not. The state arrives when you stop forcing it. Crucially, at the final cycle, after exhale, pause in stillness with empty lungs. Not a test, just stillness. This threshold recalibrates the nervous system. When the urge to breathe naturally returns, inhale gently and resume normal breathing. Do this once daily. More is not better. The nervous system integrates through repetition, not overload. Overstimulation breaks coherence. Consistency builds it. This is mechanical Soma: breath, chemistry, rhythm, and restraint. If you feel nothing initially, your system is reawakening a forgotten pattern, which takes time. Most people fail here, not because the protocol doesn't work, but through self-sabotage. These small mistakes send wrong signals, collapsing the state before stabilization. First error: forcing breath, aggressive pulling, straining during holds, tightening jaw, shoulders. The nervous system interprets effort as threat, reactivating survival circuitry. You shut the door, not go deeper. Second mistake: chasing sensations, tingling, lightheadedness, emotional waves. These are side effects, not goals. Fixating on them activates the prefrontal control loop, replacing regulation with analysis. Soma emerges under permission, not surveillance. Third error: overtraining. Multiple sessions daily, extended holds, turning it into a challenge. This isn't biohacking, it's neural conditioning. Pushing too hard causes rebound, increased anxiety, degraded sleep. People then mislabel the practice as destabilizing, ignoring biological limits. Another silent failure: posture collapse. Slouching compresses the diaphragm, limiting vagal signaling. Lying down often induces sleep, not regulation. Soma requires alert relaxation. Upright, grounded, present. The most dangerous mistake: expectation. Waiting for dramatic visions or breakthroughs. The nervous system shifts when conditions are right, not on command. Measuring sessions against imagined outcomes blocks access to the state. Ancient systems prevented these errors with ritual structure and supervision. Modern individuals remove the container, keeping only the technique, leading to inconsistent results. The protocol is simple. The discipline is not. Correcting these mistakes brings quiet, undeniable progress. Smoother breath, calmer mind, softened emotional reactions. You feel regulated, not high. Regulation, not intensity, marks Soma stabilizing in your system. The nervous system changes in sequences, not miracles. Anyone promising instant transformation is misleading you. Biology adapts through repetition and recovery. Soma adheres to this rule. In the first 3 days, changes are subtle but specific. Sleep deepens, more restorative, fewer micro-awakenings. And emotional reactions slow by a fraction, indicating the survival loop loosening. By day 7, coherence is noticeable. Natural breathing outside practice slows, the chest softens, and the jaw unclenches effortlessly. Focus improves as stability, making you harder to provoke. Old triggers feel distant. Around days 14 to 21, the shift internalizes. The baseline moves. You recover faster from stress, emotional waves pass without sticking, and intuition sharpens. Pattern recognition, not mystical. Your nervous system is no longer overwhelmed by noise. This phase may surface suppressed material. Old memories, emotional residue, sudden insights. This is integration, not regression. Soma removes interference, not adds to you. Restraint is crucial. Do not escalate the protocol or extend breath holds. Allow adaptation. The nervous system builds trust through consistency. Impatience breaks it, causing the system to close. Stopping at 7 days brings improvement. Continuing past 21 establishes a structural, not dramatic difference. Your system ceases fighting itself. The true transformation ancient rituals protected. Stability, not ecstasy. Once this stability is established, the question isn't Soma's reality, but how you ever lived without it. Why was Soma never openly taught, buried under myth, or dismissed as superstition? The uncomfortable answer: control, not spirituality. A regulated nervous system is difficult to manipulate. Calm, coherent, and internally stable individuals don't panic, chase false urgency, or quickly outsource authority. Ancient societies understood this, reserving Soma for initiates, warriors, priests, and leaders, not for obedience, but for sovereignty. In the modern world, an economy built on attention, anxiety, and dissatisfaction profits from dysregulation. Stress is profitable. It fuels consumption. A population in survival mode is easier to direct, distract, and exhaust. This is incentive, not conspiracy. So, the narrative reframed. Soma became a lost drug, breath a relaxation accessory, ritual a performance. Anything hinting at internal autonomy was mystified or diluted into harmless wellness trends. The real mechanism lost in noise. Science also played a role through fragmentation. Neuroscience, physiology, and psychology studied isolated parts. Soma lived in the overlap, ignored because it couldn't be easily categorized, funded, regulated, or monetized. Yet, the truth resurfaced repeatedly in trauma therapy, elite performance, and meditation research, under different names: vagal regulation, coherence, flow states. The system couldn't erase it, only scatter it. This is why the practice feels forbidden. Accessing calm without external permission feels rebellious. Soma doesn't make you special. It makes you unhooked. Unhooked individuals resist fear-based narratives. No one hides Soma in a vault. It's hidden in plain sight by misdirection, dilution, and distraction. The challenge was never access, but recognizing what was being kept from you. Once the noise clears, the discussion ends. Responsibility shifts to you. Intellectual understanding is insufficient. Soma must be tested in the body. Ancient systems demanded practice, not agreement. This is a challenge, not an invitation to adopt a belief or identity. 7 days, one protocol, once daily. No optimization, variation, or shortcuts. No music, extended holds, or chasing experiences. Follow the structure exactly and observe without judgment. During these 7 days, note effortless changes, stress recovery speed, quality of sleep, not duration, and reaction softening before thoughts catch up. These are not placebo effects, but signals your nervous system is exiting chronic defense. The impulse to quit or modify is not random. It stems from the same survival circuitry governing your life. Resistance is a threshold, not a warning sign. If nothing shifts after 7 days, stop. You lose nothing. But if even a slight shift occurs, you face a choice. Continue for 21 days to stabilize the state, or return to the familiar tension you mistook for normal. Soma offers regulation, not enlightenment. Regulation changes everything downstream: thought, emotion, perception, choice. This is why it was protected and encoded, and why this message wasn't softened. The door was always there, not hidden, not locked, just ignored. Breath is the key. Using it is no longer a question of knowledge, but of courage.